So the third secret that I want to talk about is how can you upgrade any therapeutic approach with two simple questions. And the two simple questions are based on the logic of seeing therapy as something that will help you become aware of being, because that allows you to say any therapeutic approach that you can come across. You can ask the two questions. You can ask, how does this approach help someone to become aware of being? And you can ask the question, what's the trap? How may using this approach, this therapeutic approach, end up becoming something that prevents you from becoming aware of being? I feel that if I can answer these two questions, then I have a very good grasp on how I can use that therapeutic approach. So, for example, one very common therapeutic approach, and I'm a great fan of it, but it also has its potential trap, is to invite or help clients express repressed emotions. So like before, if we were talking about the repressed emotion of anger. So if you repress your anger and then you come to a place where you can express it, this can help you become aware of being, because repressing any emotion, whether it's anger or sadness or grief, or sometimes people repress joy because they feel that joy will be offensive to other people and so on. So if you repress any emotion, then that requires a lot of monitoring. You have to spend a lot of your awareness in monitoring when this emotion gets close to the surface, and taking measures to then distract yourself from the emotion or override it, or whatever your favorite defense mechanism is. And this just occupies a lot of your awareness. And the more of your awareness is engaged in the project of repressing emotions, the less likely you are to become aware of being, simply because you're distracted. And so if you learn to express certain emotions and you lose the fear of them, then all these processes become redundant, and all the awareness that was bound up in maintaining these processes are liberated. And now you may say, oh, hang on a sec, what is this thing that I'm swimming in, right? What is this thing that is around me? It feels really good. This is really interesting. And you might become aware of being. So I think that's the answer to the first question. So the answer to the second question, how might something like learning to express repressed emotions end up preventing you from becoming aware of being? I think this is something that's very common with a lot of therapeutic practices. If it works one time, we then think, oh, so this is what I have to do in order to get to that yummy state that I felt. So if, for example, you learn to express your anger and lose your fear of your own anger, and you feel, wow, this feels really enlivening and wonderful, then you might draw the conclusion, which is a false conclusion, that it was the act of expressing the emotion that caused this positive feeling. It isn't. The act of expressing the emotion causes something that prevents you from noticing something that is already there that feels good. But if we don't see the intricacy of this process and say, well, I expressed my emotions, I felt good, that means expressing emotions makes me feel good, then many times I have seen clients who, I call it, it's almost like they're truffle hunting for something that they have repressed, because they have to find something that they have repressed and then stop repressing it in order to get the fix. And sometimes it leads to the bizarre situations where people may even push aside good feelings, because you go like, yeah, but this is not something I'm repressing. This is just good feelings. I need to find the repressed thing so that I can unrepress it or stop repressing it so I can feel good. And so I think this is where the process can get counterproductive. Our attention gets taken away from being because it gets occupied with this perpetual search for repressed stuff. So yes, so this is just a story to illustrate how and I have not come across any therapeutic technique that doesn't have a potential trap. I haven't come across any. If any of you know a therapeutic technique that is foolproof, that cannot end up becoming something that takes your awareness away from being, I'm very eager to hear about it. I haven't come across it yet. So yes, so that was the third secret: how to upgrade any therapeutic approach with 2 simple questions.